Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going fantastic. Thanks so much for joining me for Try It Out Tuesday. Today we are going to create a yay card. Yays are nice because they could be for birthdays, some kind of celebration. And I did a little shopping at the Spellbinder shop. They always have such good sales, and I found some birthday balloon or just regular balloons, and then the sentiment stamp that says yay, and then also a coordinating die. These are all from Fun Stamper's Journey, and I thought they'd go really well together. And this wasn't the only thing in my cart. I kind of went a little crazy at Spellbinder shop because they have great deals. My goodness. This is the Uplift Die Set. It's a 4-piece die set, and the largest die does fit a standard A2 size panel. So, but for today's card, we're going to use the 3 smaller dies in the set. The stamp set is just 2 pieces, and there is a solid yay, and then there's an outline yay. And it's nice because you can use them together or separate. Today we're going to use them together and separate. The die here does cut out the yay, leaving a little bit of a white border, and that's what we're going to use as well. So let's do some stamping. I'm going to bring in a 6x6 paper pad from my favorite things. It is the black and white stripes paper pad. It's a well-loved paper pad. In fact, I think I need to get a new one. But there's horizontal stripes, and then there's diagonal. I'm taking a piece of the diagonal pattern paper, and we're going to stamp directly on the diagonal stripes here. So just placing the outlined yay on my acrylic block, I'm going to treat my paper with my anti-static powder bag, and then we are going to stamp with some VersaFine Onyx black ink. I'm stamping with my VersaFine, this way I can heat emboss with it. I like the bold lines of the black because I'm going to end up fussy cutting out my yay. So I'm going over it with clear embossing powder. This way when I do cut it out, it doesn't smear on me. That's the only reason I'm heat embossing, basically, is because I didn't want my ink to smear while I was cutting it out. Kind of taking a little shortcut here. But after my sentiment is melted, we're going to go ahead and trim that out. Now set that aside, and we're going to take that same yay stamp on some white cardstock this time. I'm going to stamp in the bottom corner, and I didn't press very well, so we're going to stamp that on the top corner here. And then I'm going to do the same thing, add some clear embossing powder, and we'll go over this as well. I'm not going to fussy cut this out, but I had the embossing powder out, so I thought we might as well make it shiny. We'll just go ahead and melt it. And I think this looks good. Now the solid yay will fit right inside the outline yay. So you could use both of them at the same time, and that's what we're going to do. Now, since it's Try It Out Tuesday, I had bought the Speckled Egg Distress Oxide ink. It's the brand new ink that Ranger has, and so I thought we'd give that a go. Since I am stamping with the solid, I thought maybe we better bring in the Misty, just so I can align it just right, and in case I need to double stamp, it's handy that way. I just tacked it down with my magnet here. And then we are going to take a look. We're going to line it up. It's pretty easy. It is a red rubber stamp, but it's really easy to line up, guys. Okay, pick that up with the lid of our Misty. And when I did this, I realized I didn't remove my mouse pad. It's a red rubber stamp, and I should have. But I didn't, and it worked out anyway. But this is the Speckled Egg Distress ink. Distress Oxide ink. Now, guys, this is a really smoky blue color. I thought it'd be more like a robin's egg kind of a color, but it's actually a little bit more on the gray side. I would say it's a cross between a weathered wood and tumbled glass. So you put those two together, you probably would get the speckled egg. It's a really pretty color. But I stamped my yay, and you can see I lined it up pretty good. And my ink was juicy, so I'm going to set that aside to dry. In the meantime, I adhered a piece of double-sided tape to some fun foam, and then what we're going to do is peel back the release paper, and then add our diagonal stripe yay to the corner. I'm just going to trim it, and you know what, the yay has straight edges on the bottom of the letters and on the top, so I'm just using my scissors and cutting along that edge. and then just trimming out the piece here. And we can save that for another yay. Now I want to cut out each one of these letters, so we'll do the same thing with our top row here. Just cutting a straight line, you can hit all of the top of the letters, and then I'm just going to cut along my embossed lines. Since most of these are straight lines, it's really easy to fussy cut. I'll do the same thing with the A and then the other Y. Now the inside of the A, I was afraid if I used my craft knife with the fun foam that it wouldn't be clean, so a clean cut. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. I do this a lot when I fussy cut, especially for like coffee cup handles. I trim out the middle portion. So the A is separated, and you know guys, you can't even really, once you adhere this to your project, you can't tell that you cut through it. Maybe in the close-up pictures you'll be able to see what I mean, but I promise you, you can't even tell when you cut through your image. So my speckled egg is still a little bit damp, so I use my heat gun to go ahead and dry it. I didn't want to die cut it while it was still wet because the ink will hit the top of my die cutting plates, and then it transfers to my other projects. Because ask me how I know. Trial and error. Okay, so that's ready to go. My yay is. Now we're going to die cut 3 of the balloons. Again, these are the 3 smaller ones in the set. Just using some white cardstock to do this. And we'll run these through the die cut machine. Now when I die cut the balloons, I'm going to keep them inside my cardstock. That way I can do some ink blending. But there's my yay. It is such a pretty color, isn't it? I'm going to go ahead and adhere my diagonal stripes to the top of my die cut yay. Some of my lines looked a little bit choppy, so I'm going to clean them up. Even though I heat embossed with my clear embossing powder, they still didn't look sharp. So I'm sharpening them up with my black memento marker. Now I'm going to add it to the very top of my die cut yay using some glue, and I'm going to offset my diagonal stripes from my speckled egg ink. Just a little bit's going to be peeking out, but this really does add so much dimension to your yay. It looks almost like it's popping out. It's like a 3D. Well, technically I guess it is 3D, but it just looks like it's jumping out at you when you offset it a little bit. But there's my yay. Takes a little while with the fun foam to dry, so I'll set that aside and we'll do some ink blending. The first balloon we're going to color in with 2 colors. We're going to use picked raspberry and spiced marmalade. Starting off with the picked raspberry, we're going to go over the largest balloon and just go halfway. And I sped it up really quick, and we'll add our spiced marmalade on the bottom, just blending both of those together. And that one's ready to go. We're going to do our second balloon with 2 different shades of Oxide inks. This time we're using fossilized amber and peacock feathers. We're going to start off with our fossilized amber on the top of our medium balloon, and then we'll bring in our peacock feathers, or the cracked pistachio. Sorry, I don't know if I said it's cracked pistachio, and I just blended that one. For my third color, we're going to use shaded lilac. Ink that up first over the top of our smallest balloon, and then we'll ink blend speckled egg right below it. These colors on the camera, as I'm looking at it, it kind of doesn't look like there's that much of a variant in color. And then I realized I need a new blending tool for my new color. So I just grabbed the new ink pad here, put it on my little blending tool. I'm going to do a little swatching, so I added some color to that other corner of my cardstock. But we're just doing a little bit of ink blending. You can really see the gray with this one, but I ended up going with it. We needed that speckled egg in there because of the sentiment, and I think it was in real life. You could see the variance. Now I'm using a 1-inch punch, punching out my colored cardstock here. This is how I make my little swatches for my ink blending tools, and then I take a 1/2-inch punch and cut out like a donut shape. I realized I hadn't did this for a while, and I realized that I didn't get it straight, and that would have bothered me, so we're going to do a redo. Just ink blending on our cardstock, and then this time we're going to take our 1/2-inch punch first punch a hole, and then we can line it up with our 1 inch, and then we have a more uniform size donut here. I just trim off the donut. This way I could slide it through my blending tool, and then I have a little swatched out. I do that to all of them. You can see here, just easier for me to grab my coordinating blending tools with my e-pads. Okay, here's my balloons. I'm going to add a little bit of texture to it using my spray bottle here. So I added some water droplets. I'm going to pick up the excess with my towel here, and those are good to go. Now we need a background panel, so I'm bringing in my double stitched rectangle dies and a piece of white cardstock. Wasn't sure what size to use, so I think we're going to go with a smaller one. I was going to die cut out my panel first, but then I thought, you know what, we're going to overlap the balloons a little bit, and I want to die cut those out as well, and we might as well do it all together to get that stitched line on our large balloon and our medium balloon. So we're just kind of lining them up how I want them to go. And I'm thinking this die is maybe a little bit too small for what I was looking for. We're going to grab the yay and see if it'll fit in here. And I think it kind of, you can't see the balloons, so we're going to go one size up for our panel. So we'll put that one back, grab our next size up, and I think this is going to work out a little bit better. You can see more of the balloons. Just kind of arranging them, and then when I'm happy with the placement, we'll tack them down. This way our yay can fit in the middle, and you can still see the balloons. Tack them down. I'm going to run the 2 balloons in my panel through the die cut machine. Now it's a little bit on the thicker side, and I'm not sure if it's going to die cut all the way through. In fact, it didn't, and so no worries though. We still have the stitch line, and that's what I was looking for. I'm going to take my scissors and just finish off the cut lines, and then we're good to go. Okay, I have a little bit of ink on my panel, so I just use my sand eraser to remove that. Now I'm going to bring in some black licorice twine. This is from Fun Stamper's Journey 2. If you guys are looking for some great black twine, this is it. I'll link it down, well, everything down below if you guys are interested. But I thought our balloons needed some bows, so I'm going to tie a bow to each one of the bottom of the balloons here, just trimming off the tails. Do the same thing. We'll tack this down with some tape, put that back in its home, kind of lining it up on the edge. And we'll do the same thing with the other 2 balloons. What I like to do is kind of tie a partial knot and then tuck it under the tail of the balloon here, and then tighten it up. It just makes it easier. We'll tie a bow and trim the tails and do that to all 3. So our balloons are tied. Now we need some balloon strings. I'm going to take some more of that black twine, and since I do have a lot of sticky tape underneath my balloons, sorry, my throat got so scratchy, I'm so sorry. I'm going to flip over my panel, add tape behind it. This way we can just loop our twine behind it and tack it down. I want to make sure that my strings were straight though, so we'll line it up and then just tack it on the back. We'll do that to all 3 of our balloons, so they all have strings hanging down. We'll just lift and tuck until they're ready to go. This one needs a little more tape, so we'll add some more tape and do a little more tucking. And I think that I love the colors, and I think it looks really pretty. We're going to pop this panel up. I'm going to use fun foam. I've been kind of cleaning up my craft room, so I'm trying to use up what I have. I have a lot of fun foam and odd shaped pieces. So this one here is adhesive backed, and so we're just going to add tape behind one side, place it on the back of our panel, and then we can just remove the release paper off of the other side. Okay, we're going to grab our card base, which is a standard A2 size card base. It's top folding. We're going to center our panel here in the middle, and then this one is good to go. Okay, now all we have to do is add adhesive behind our yay, and this is going to go in the center right above the balloons. And I like the size of the panel better only because I can center the yay and you can see all 3 balloons. For finishing touches, I'm going to bring in some silver stars I think I got these at the dollar store, so I won't be able to link them, but any kind of star sequence you have would work. We'll just add 3 of them. And that finishes off my card today, guys. My yay card, it's probably good for almost all occasions. Everything's listed below if you guys want to check things out, but have a fabulous day. Thanks for joining me. We will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.